We all understand the type of climate that we're dealing with. We're dealing with multiple offer situations.
I'd love to know sort of what's your why? What makes you tick? Why are you so successful?
Have a dialogue with your lawyer. Have a dialogue with your agent.
Both sort of passionate about sort of what we do.
Again, vet your agent to make sure that they're experienced and they're local. I like that idea.
No excuse to miss it on Saturdays from 8 to 9.
That's right.
WBZ.
And now, the show that gives you the latest and most relevant housing market news. Real Estate Radio Boston with financial expert Rick Scherer and legal professional Ali Alavi.
Welcome back. Real Estate Radio Boston, WBZ 1030. You can reach us at realestateradioboston.com. That's realestateradioboston.com, or give us a call, 855-4-ASK-RICK. And if you missed any part of the show, we encourage you to go to the website, realestateradioboston.com, or get our podcast.
Absolutely, and also become a fan of the show and like us on Facebook. We love that. We love the more fans we have, the more excited we get.
More happier this guy gets. Anyway, listen, we got a huge treat for you guys today. We're really excited to have Steve Harney on the line. He's the CEO of Keeping Current Matters. Steve's been in the business for 25 years. Actually, Inman just had him as the 100 most influential leaders in real estate. He specializes in market trends, and really, we're excited to have him on because we really want to talk about local market, but also the market as a whole.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Very, very good, gentlemen.
Very excited to having you on.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you very much.
We're honored to have you on, and I want to say for the record that for the listeners that are going to think that you are from New York, aren't you?
Yes, actually from New York and born in the Bronx.
That's right, but you are a Red Sox fan.
A big-time Red Sox fan. And I've taken a beating for that over the years. Many, many years ago, I became a Carl Yastrzemski fan, and then I started following the Red Sox, and now I'm actually a Boston fan all the way through most of the sports. And again, living in New York and being a Boston fan is a damn.
Well, listen, you just got back all of our listeners to now listen to what you've got to say. Steve, what's going on in this real estate market? We're seeing some headlines, and again, national headlines about sales being down and new construction numbers being down. Can you sort of dissect this for us and our listeners?
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's two things. There's no doubt that the last couple of existing home sales reports, which is a national report put out by the National Association of Realtors, have shown that sales have dropped over the last 5 months. That comes as no surprise because the pending home sales report, which talks about when houses go into contract, has been down, the previous 5 months to that. So the existing home sales report really shouldn't come as a shock to anyone. Mm-hmm. But the headlines are reporting the raw numbers. And I think that we have to delve a little bit into that. They're giving us all the dots in the market. Let's connect some of those dots so it makes sense. Are sales down? Yes, they are. But sales are down in certain segments, meaning that the company, and this is a good thing, the country, I should say, and this is a good thing, is clearing out all the distressed properties. We're in the process now of getting rid of that, what was known as the shadow inventory.
All right, and the distressed properties that you're talking about short sales, foreclosures, etc. Is that right?
Right. For example, short sales right now are down 44% year over year.
Wow.
Foreclosures are down 16% year over year. And there were a lot of short sales and a lot of foreclosures. So, of course, the number of overall houses that are selling are down because distressed property sales are down as we're clearing out that shadow inventory. But if we take a look at existing home sales year over year, they're actually, if we take out the distressed properties and only look at the non-distressed properties, they're up 18%. And new construction year over year is up 23%. So the healthy part of the market is growing nicely. The unhealthy part of the market is starting to disappear. All of those things are good.
That's interesting. So what you're basically saying is that the headlines are right, but the perception is wrong.
What my fear is, there are homeowners right now that have been strapped with either negative equity or near negative equity over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. And they didn't want to bring cash to a closing table, so they were kind of shackled to the house they were in.
Right.
They couldn't really move. My fear is if they're looking at those headlines, they might think this is not a good time to put my house on the market, when actually the exact opposite is true. because we're clearing out so much of the distressed property inventory, it's leaving a void. One of the big reasons sales are down is there's not enough inventory to sell.
Right.
And if they put their house on the market, especially that first-time move-up seller, meaning they're going to move up into their second home, that particular piece of the market is hot right now. They'd be crazy not to, if they're thinking about selling in the near future, not to jump in and get that house on the market now.
Steve, I asked this of a lot of the expert contributors and a lot of the experts in the industry that come on. I want to sort of challenge you, if you will. Not that that's possible. If you were to look at your crystal ball, what do you see projecting in not only sort of the remaining balance of 14, but 15 onwards?
Well, there's two different things we can look at. We can look at sales and we can look at prices. Let's take prices first, then we'll go to sales.
Sure.
I think that what I think really doesn't matter. What any individual person thinks doesn't matter. What I'd like to do is garner together a whole bunch of expert opinion and see what takes place. There's a survey that's done every quarter. That's kind of a little bit of a secret. It's called the Home Price Expectation Survey, where they go out and look and actually survey 107 of the leading experts in the real estate industry. People like from up in your part of the country, from Harvard University, the chief economist for the Joint Center of Housing Studies, the person, Mark Zandi, the chief economist at Moody's.com, people in the real estate industry itself. And they asked those 107 people to give all of their opinions. And then what they do is they take 107 opinions and mash it into one number. What they believe is going to take place is this year as a nation, we're going to see about a 4.5% increase in prices through 2014, then about another 4.2% in 2015.
Okay.
After that, and they go 5 years out, after that they go to about 3.5%, which is about the normal historical appreciation. If we take the bubble and bust out, normally houses appreciate on an annual basis in this country about 3.5%.
Yeah, so it's healthy.
Yeah, so it's going to be healthy going forward. That no one has to be worried. You know, I always tease, a buyer's really not worried about how high those green bars are going to get. They just want to make sure that they're green and they're not red.
Right.
All right, so the experts are projecting over the next 5 years that prices are going to go up over, 25% cumulatively.
Wow.
And
so I think it's a healthy market as far as prices are concerned.
And
now,
Steve,
if we want to get to sales, we could talk about that too.
Yes, please go into sales.
All right, on the sales side, the only thing that's limited sales right now is inventory. All right, that's the major thing. You know, the millennials are out. People are saying that first-time seller, well, the young kid coming out of school isn't ready to buy. Well, that's not true if you look at the numbers. If we look at headlines, if we look at blog posts, there are people saying that. But the latest study done by NAR that broke up purchasers by generation, actually the millennials, up to 32 years old, they were the largest generation of home buyers. Of the overall home buyers, they were the highest percentage of home buyers. They had 31% of all sales, where the boomers and the Generation X had 30% each. So it's about tied. But I think there's some belief out there that first-time home seller isn't going to have that buyer because those kids coming out of college can't afford to buy. That's not true.
I agree.
They are buying.
Now, Steve, obviously you're in tune with what's going on nationally. You guys are looking at the market trends. You're crunching the numbers, so on and so forth. So everything that you talk about is on a national basis. How is Massachusetts faring? How are we faring in comparison to the rest of the country?
All right, it's interesting. Massachusetts, if we take that, and by the way, there are people probably listening to this broadcast all over the country, and you should look at your local market, just like I'm asked to look at the Massachusetts market right now, because they will vary. When in Massachusetts, you're not seeing the 25% increase in prices that they're seeing in California.
Right.
Though you might, see a headline saying prices are up, even, as a nation, 14, 15%. We have to realize that in some parts of the country that really took a dive in prices, so they're going to come back much stronger. In those locations, the Arizonas, the Nevadas, the Floridas, the Californias, they're the ones that are having that way, close to 20% appreciation. Massachusetts never took that real deep dive. I'm not saying it didn't, have depreciation,
right,
but it wasn't the same depth of a dive, so they're not going to have that same shoot up. So in Massachusetts, instead of looking at the national numbers of over 13.5% year-over-year appreciation, Massachusetts, you're about 8.3%. The Massachusetts is interesting because part of the reason there was some challenges is different states did different things.
Right.
Like, out in California, they put all the foreclosures out immediately. New York, we still haven't put our foreclosures out. So, with us, we haven't been hit. Massachusetts did a great job of releasing that distressed property inventory in a way that it did not crush the market, but fast enough that it did clear a lot of those distressed properties.
Absolutely.
We've
one of the healthiest markets in the country.
Awesome. Steve, well, listen, we got about 10 seconds left. Listen, we appreciate you being on. This is Steve Harney. He's with Keeping Current Matters. You can. What's your website? How can people reach out to you guys?
The easiest thing to do is to go to the KCM, Keeping Current Matters, that's right, KCMblog.com. If they go to KCMblog.com, we write a blog every single day to the public, and they can get some great information right on the blog.
Steve, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys, both of you. I appreciate it very much.